Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1. I would like to present our presentation about discussion 1 Language and Brain, Innatenes and Critical Period Hypothesis, Stage in Language Acquisition. Uh, for the first is Language and Brain. Many linguistic departments offer a course entitled Language and Brain or Language and Mind. Such a course examines the relationship between linguistic theories and actual language used by children and adults. Findings are presented from research on a variety of topics, including the course of language development, language production and understanding, and the nature of language breakdown due to the brain injury. The topics provide example of what is currently known about language and the mind of they offer insight into the central issues in this area of linguistic research. Language is a significant part of what makes us human, along with other cognitive skills such as mathematical and spatial reasoning, musical, and drawing ability. The capacity to form social relationship and the like as with these other cognitive skills. Linguistic behavior is open to investigation using the familiar tools of, of observation and experimentation. It is wrong, however, to exaggerate the similarity between language and other cognitive skills because language stands apart in several ways. For one thing, the use of language is universal. All normally developing children to learn speak at least one language, and many learn more than one. By contrast, not everyone becomes proficient at complex mathematical reasoning. Now, few people learn to paint well, and many people cannot carry a tune because everyone is capable of learning to speak and understanding language. It may seem simple, but just the opposite is true. Language is one of the most complex of all human cognitive ability. Inhabitants of language. Noam Chomsky is a modern linguist who claimed language is an inborn capacity of humans. His position grew out of his observation of children learning their first language and out of opposition to the behaviorisms of Skinner. He referred to the inborn capacity as a language acquisition deficit (LAD), a term that has since fallen out of common use. Steven Pinker, a protege of Chomsky's, prefers the term language instinct to LAD. The work of researchers like Pavlov, who studied impulse and classical conditioning, LID, B.F. Skinner, to develop the theory of learning called behaviorism. In, in Skinner's view, humans begin uh, life with minds that are tabula rasa, like a blank slate. Humans experience the world as a series of stimuli that they respond to. To those responses are either reinforced or not. Reinforced response become habits and individuals follows throughout life. One promising way to respond is to imitate, and Skinner believes that first language acquisition occurs as children imitate the speech of their environment, which is then reinforced by the adult, who praise the child for talking or give what the child has asked for. Then, in contrast to view of first language acquisition, Chomsky points in some of the features just described, in particular the use of overextension in relationship to syntactic forms. If children merely imitate the speech of adults around them, Chomsky argued, how is it they make utterance like God and put it? Surely they have not heard any adults use their forms. Yet in the telegraphic stage, children regularly overuse a general rule. Clearly, Chomsky conclude behaviorism in inadequate to describe the process of first language acquisition. Instead, he suggests that the ability to learn language is innate.
The inheritance of language. Noam Chomsky is a modern linguist who claims language is inborn capacity of humans. His position grew out of his observation of children learning their first language and out of opposition to the behavior of Skinner. He referred to the inborn capacity as language acquisition device (LAD), a term that has since fallen out of common use. Steven Pinker, a protege of Chomsky, prefers the term language instinct to LAD. The work of researchers like Pavlov, who studied impulse and classical conditioning (LADBF), Skinner to develop a theory of learning called behaviorism. In Skinner's view, humans begin life with minds that are tabula rasa, like a blank state. Humans experience to the world as a series of stimuli that they respond to, and those responses are either reinforced or not. Reinforced response become habits that an individual follow throughout life. One prominent way to respond is to imitate, and Skinner believed that first language acquisition occurs as children imitate the speech of their environment, which is then reinforced by the adult who praise the child for talking, give what the child has asked for. Chomsky points to some of the features just described, in particular to the use of overextension in relationship to syntactic form. Chomsky argued how is they make utterance like God and put it. Surely they have not heard any adult use this form, yet in the telegraphic stage, children regularly overuse a general rule. Clearly, Chomsky concluded behaviorism in inadequate to describe the process of first language acquisition. The critical period hypothesis. Along with Chomsky, linguist Eric Lennerberg promote the idea that language is the innate but developed a new idea, the critical period hypothesis. Lennerberg suggests that although the capability for language is innate, it must be triggered by the environment that provides language learning possibilities. A child will not develop language. The innate capacity will not be realized, at least in full. In addition, child must encounter with language within a certain time period, or the opportunity to acquire language be lost. Support for the idea that a child must in environment that includes human language in order to acquire it comes from case for feral, isolated, and neglected children who demonstrate little or no language use and who learn little or no language. Some linguists see further support in the fact that older individuals seems to have difficulty with learning a second language that younger individuals don't have.